Let's talk about what products I'm going to nominate for the Speaker of the Year, the DAC of the Year, the Amp of the Year, because it's almost September already. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about these incredible products. If you are new here, please consider subscribing and entering our 200,000 subscriber giveaway. We're giving away thousands of dollars of speakers, amps, turntables from SVS, Wharfdale, Black Ice Audio, Just Shelly Labs, Vanatu. All of the details will be linked in the description. The only thing you have to do to enter is to be subscribed, fill out the Google form, and if you're already subscribed, it's okay. Just fill out the Google form. And then follow me on Instagram at Cheap Audio Man. Thank you so much for watching. We're almost there. We're at 192,000. Speakers. In a crazy way, I haven't really reviewed that many new speakers, and anything that's making the list on this video or will be making the end of the year list is based upon stuff that I've reviewed this year. With that said, there still have been some really standout awesome speakers. The NUMI Silk 4 is a somewhat affordable, small footprint style speaker. I thought this speaker was incredibly balanced, finished very well, and it wasn't surprising because the BS5 from NUMI is one of my easy budget recommendations. That speaker comes in around $100. The Silk 4s come in around $180. And they remind me a lot of Dolly speakers. They remind me a lot of Cambridge audio speakers. Was really impressed with them. The Acoustics 5020. This speaker has become one of my favorite speakers in the house. I keep returning to it, and that is always a sign of a good speaker, for me at least. I think it's a major step up from the 3020s, and I think it's even a bit of a step up over the more expensive Concept 30s. I actually prefer the 5020s. 5020s come in around $800, so they are not an inexpensive bookshelf speaker. But they're just the right amount of fun while not straying too far away from what most would consider a linear or audiophile response. I think I'm making a prediction. It's going to be tough to beat the Q Acoustics 5020s. The Mofi SourcePoint 8s. So we actually have a very affordable speaker, kind of a speaker in the middle, and then a very expensive speaker. The SourcePoint 8s is the latest Andrew Jones design from Mofi Electronics. Concentric 8-inch driver. I still have them. They're boxed up, ready to go back. Beautiful speaker. Real wood veneer, faceted front baffle. Gorgeous. And they also have one of the best mid-ranges, one of the best low ends that I've heard on a speaker. Period. It was really a joy to listen to these. I'm hoping they can shrink it even more, maybe a SourcePoint 6. I just wish they could get that price down, but I get it. This speaker's $3,000. This speaker's $3,000, but I think it truly does stuff that I haven't heard from other speakers, really at any price. That's why the SourcePoint 8s are going to be nominated for Speaker of the Year. Will they win? I don't know. Maybe there's going to be something really cool come out that I don't even know about. Dacs. There have been some really good ones. Now, I have a huge category under amps because it seems like this year I've reviewed a ton of amps, and it seems like this year there have been a ton of awesome amps. But when it comes to Dacs, there have been a few incredible standouts. The Smsl SU1 was a product I wasn't super excited about. I had listened to a lot of little Dacs, and usually they sound fairly similar. The SU1 though really surprised me. It has the AKM 4493S chipset, which a lot of new Dacs have. A few of the other Dacs were pretty harsh. Now, Just Shelly Labs makes the J2 with the AKM 4493, but they do a different implementation, and theirs sounds brilliant. That is probably the best DAC under $1,000 that you can get. Anyway, the SU1 is $80. It's an incredible value. Fun, it's dynamic, it's not too spicy on top. And for $80, it, in my opinion, is a no-brainer. Incredible value DAC. The M300 SE is not only a DAC, but it's also a headphone amp. And this thing is incredible because it's using a new chipset that's a DAC with a headphone amp on it. It comes in around $115, and it's really impressive. It's so cool that we've had really good, inexpensive, affordable DACs. The M300 SE from SMSL and the SU1 from Smsl. Smsl is crushing it with their Dacs this year. Now, we're getting into some more expensive Dacs. The Emotiva XDA3 is kind of labeled as a DAC, but really it's more of a DAC slash preamp. There are two analog inputs. 9038 Q2M, truly differential, truly balanced coming out of that DAC slash preamp. At $700, this DAC slash preamp has an HDMI ARC connection, has all your digital connections you need, and has two analog connections. And it comes in for $700, which I think is an incredible value. And it sounds incredible. I think if somebody is into two-channel listening and they want to bring in their television, there is probably no better way or a higher value way to do it than the Emotiva XDA/3. The Eversolo DAC Z8. I don't know if this one's staying on the list or not. I've got to really think about it. Because outside of it looking really cool, there are other products that are cheaper that probably sound as good. So I got to really think on it. It's making the list today. It may be eliminated though by the end of the year. Right now it's not available on Amazon. I'll try to find a link for it. I think it's coming in around $700 too. Now, there is another option, which is actually the DMP A6, which is a streamer, has a DAC inside too. So I think one of those is going to make the list. We'll see. I'm conflicted now. Powered speakers. I don't recall reviewing more than two, but the two that I have, well, I guess I've reviewed three. The three that I have reviewed, though, have all been standouts. They've been the Klipsch 9s, the Klipsch 7s, and the Vanuatu T0 Plus. And the 9s and the Vanuatu are definitely making the list. The 9s just blew me away. They're expensive. They're $1,500, but they pretty much do everything you need. From television to vinyl. Has a really good app that you can change mid-range, bass, and treble. Beautiful looking, huge. I'm just really surprised at how good the 9s are. They are super fun. And if I was short on space, even if I'm not short on space, the 9s right now are in my bedroom simply because they're easy. Anyway, really impressed. The Vanuatu T0 Plus is their new smaller powered speaker. Paired with a subwoofer, it is unbelievable how big these speakers actually play. You need a subwoofer with them though. There are tons of options, a ton of DSP. You can use them on your desktop, but you can use them in a huge room too. I actually had them in my living room, the biggest room in my house. And they didn't even blink. I think they come in around $450. They are an amazing little powered speaker. Okay, in-ear monitors, IEMs, earbuds. I have come to the conclusion, the only things that I should be talking about are the standouts that are incredibly cheap. And we have two of them. We have the Kiwi Ears Cadenza. I just did that video a little while ago. I think they come in around $33. And then the Truth Ear Ola. They come in around $17. Both of these are really impressive little IEMs. I've got a few more in, so we're going to see if there's any more standouts. Subwoofers. I haven't really done a lot of subwoofers this year, but the one that really stood out to me that's hugely fun, and it's huge, is the RSL Speedwoofer 12S. It's huge, it's awesome, it's so much fun. If you don't have the space, the 10S is just as impressive, just in a smaller form factor, and just not as powerful. I'm actually reach out to SVS and see if I can get some more subwoofers in. I think that would be fun. Been having a lot of fun with subwoofers lately. If you think I've missed anything, if I raved about something and it's not on the list, pop it down in the comments. I've been going through the videos the last few days, trying to figure out which ones really jumped off the page at me. But I probably missed something. Now, this is the biggest category that I have. It seems like I've done videos on a ton of amplifiers this year. So we will go through the list. Fosi Audio's on here with the BT20A Pro. Upgraded BT20A. Has the 3255 amp chipset from Texas Instruments on it. Bass and treble controls. Be weird if they only had one. Powerful, convenient, cheap, around $100 I think. Really impressed with the BT20A Pro. Also really impressed with the Fosi Audio V3. No tone controls, but this is probably an audiophile amplifier under $100. Can scale up with power. Has a better heatsink. No tone controls, but man, this thing sounds awesome. I wouldn't call it thin, but I would really call this amplifier geared towards the mid-range and the top end as far as clarity. Along the same lines is the RSL IA255.1. This amplifier has bass and treble tone controls, also has a subwoofer out, also has a high pass filter. So this is a great addition to something like the Schiit Sin. It's a very impressive little integrated amp. Arylic B50, I roasted the higher priced Arylic, I think the H50. The B50, while not perfect at all, represents one of the biggest values I've seen in hi-fi, especially when it comes to a soundbar replacement. It has an HDMI eARC connection and a ton of functionality, but forgoes the streamer that the H50 has, which I think is a really good decision. Got a lot of options. If you go into it knowing what its limitations are, this thing is a huge value at $150. The topping LA90 discrete. Now there's a bit of an asterisk on this one because I have heard lately a little bit of fuzz and a little bit of popping coming through this amplifier. I still need to spend more time with it to figure out if it keeps doing it on different outlets, etc. But when I first heard that amplifier, completely blown away. It's pretty expensive, comes in around $800. You can bridge it though. Balanced connection, so there's some head scratching moments about that amplifier. But it was kind of taking up permanent residence in my living room until it started hissing and popping and crackling. Very similar to a lot of vintage receivers that I've had. So it's on here, but it has an asterisk. The Schiit G-Horn. Little desktop amplifiers or little small amplifiers for a svelte, tiny little system can be bridged. These are great sounding amplifiers at lower power, but still fairly inexpensive at $300. Dynamic and have a bit of a kind of romantic flavor to them. Very impressed with the G-Horns. Just did this review. The Rotel A11 Mark II. Really impressed with this integrated amplifier. Has one of the best phono stages. Puts out 50 watts into 8 ohms, 62 watts into 4 ohms, but that's at a super low THD. So I think those are very conservative numbers. I think the takeaway for me is I like this better than the A11 Tribute. I think it's more dynamic. Has fewer features though, and it doesn't have a subwoofer out, so it's not going to be the right integrated amplifier for everyone. But I was really amazed at the sound quality. Kind of like a miniature version, lower powered version than one of my other nominees, which is the DR1 monoblocks from Emotiva. This is absolutely my reference setup when I'm not worrying about price. 650 watts into 8 ohms. 1,000 watts into 4 ohms. Just crazy, stupid amounts of power. But they also sound incredible. So effortlessly dynamic, crystal clean. I really love those things. I just wish they were smaller, but I get it. Big power equals big amp. My favorite setup of the year was the XDA3 connected to the DR1 monoblocks. Amazing. Amazing. Smsl crushing it again with the AL200. I was blown away. Has a new Infineon chipset in there. Has a headphone amp. Has a DAC. Comes in, I think, around $200, north of $200. It's crazy sounding, and it's a crazy value for what you get. When I did that video, some people jumped in the comments and say, have you heard the A300? A300 is a little bit different because this amplifier can be bridged, and it can have a high-pass filter on it. It's a little bit wonky in how you get the high-pass filter and how you bridge it, but it does sound incredible. For me, the AL200 is the easier operating amplifier. The A300 is pretty easy to operate in stereo. It's just when you put it in mono. And I don't really think you gain a ton from putting it in mono. It's $200 and it's really good. A lot of awesome amplifiers this year. So I hope you liked this video. I will have everything linked in the description if you want to check out any of those products. Most of those links will be affiliate links, which means if you click and you buy, I do get a commission. It doesn't cost you anymore, so it's a great way to support the channel. You can also sign up for Amazon, Tidal, or Rune. Links in the description. Click sign up. I do get a couple of bucks if you sign up. You can also check out my Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Sunday night we have Patreon-only Zooms, Patreon-only Discord, Patreon-only Facebook group. Please follow me over on Instagram. I put up some cool stuff, sometimes some Easter eggs. So Instagram.com/cheapaudioman. Finally, if you want to support me, you can buy me a cup of coffee. Put a little money in the tip jar down at the bottom of the video. There's a thanks button, but don't feel compelled to buy me anything. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Binge listen maybe through one of these awesome products and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.